Welcome back to Chartwell Uplift, everybody. We are week 19 and there is a ton of action activity going on here. We've got Team Sprucehill in the background there working on this insane amount of rot that we're dealing with at the front of the house. Somehow, some way, we got the guys from Town and Country back on site here today doing the torch on there. So we'll go and have a look to see what they're up to up on the main floor deck. Let's stop talking about it from the outside and jump in. So behind me, we're in the foyer of this house. This orange tarp is not an ordinary orange tarp. This is actually an insulated tarp. And so you can kind of see it's thicker than a regular tarp and it's got a little bit of insulation in there. Like, we're not talking like crazy insulated by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely helps to keep the cool out and the warm in. Well, in this case, that's what we're looking for. I mean, obviously it'll do the opposite. Now behind this tarp, which is why I'm here, is I just wanted to show everybody, right, because we're doing all of that structural work at the front of the house, we've actually had to remove the entire exterior wall because it was completely rotted. So before we do that, we've got to frame up a temporary wall, and that has been loosely sheeted as well to prevent it from racking or from falling down. And just remember, guys, right, folks, if you have a wall, and there are so many videos of this happening out there where they've got that godforsaken paper shit on the outside of their homes down in the States. I don't even know how that got approved, but we need to make sure that we're doing things to prevent 2x4s from racking like that. And you know, the best way to explain it is if you frame up a 2x4 wall, if you nail down the bottom plate of the wall and then you go to the end of it and you push it, it's just gonna fall over like a pack of chopsticks, right? Now, if you add plywood, or if you're doing something temporary, and you add a couple diagonals or something like that to it, it becomes almost impossible to fall. Like, the amount of force it takes to make that wall collapse on itself. And what I'm talking about, Kyle, is like if the bottom of the wall here is secured and we exert a force at the top of the wall without there being any sort of shear blocking, right? So a diagonal like this, that wall is just gonna fall right over. It'll just collapse right on itself. So again, you know, when you're creating temporary walls and that sort of thing, it's always really important to make sure that you have sheer thought into how you've done that. In this case, the team used some 1/2-inch plywood. We had it on site, so why the hell not? But again, like in this case, a 2x4 on the diagonal, 2 nails on into every stud, that will also get the job done as well and make it secure enough for temporary framing, which is all this is. It's just temporary, but again, you got to put that in before you take that out. Otherwise, it falls. And that's a bad day for everybody. I was not expecting to see this door out when I got here today, but obviously there's some rotten and other wonderful things happening over here. So the team got the door out and this is going to get all cleaned up over here. In doing so, and the drywall coming down above me, I came in and I noticed gray pipe above my head. As a homeowner, as a tradesperson, if you see gray pipe, this first thing you should do is not panic, but you should be very, very, very concerned. Then you should seek to find out, is this poly B or polybutylene pipe? If it is, then you should start to panic. Poly B is a massive leak risk. There have been class action lawsuits filed against the manufacturer of this garbage. And so anytime we see poly B, it's got to come out. Poly B for plumbing is analogous to knob and tube wiring for electrical. It is all sorts of bad. I have seen it leak. I have seen it burst. I have seen it do all sorts of unspeakable, horrible things. If you have poly B in your house, you want to get that gone ASAP. It's not a function of if it's going to leak. It's a function of when.
It's got a poly B gone.
I'm not saying that.
So when they originally built the garage,
Yeah.
they didn't build a frost wall underneath. So there's a 2-inch curb of concrete, and then they backfilled against the wood frame building. And
That's not very smart.
yes, so the water, the neighbour's elevation is higher, so the water is running down in and into the wood frame. So if you see underneath, there's actually soil coming in from the front because the concrete's so low, they built a planter and filled it up with soil above the wood frame. So the soil is coming in.
Of course it is.
And there's water getting in from the front and from the side. So we'll have to find a way to dig this out, create extra drainage,
Yeah.
seal it, and then waterproof it.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite the ordeal.
Okay, so folks, if you have planters or gardens on the outside of your home, please, for the love of everything holy, make sure that there's concrete behind it. In this case, we've got a concrete curb that is basically only this far above this slab here. Now we come over to the garden over here, and this garden is, I mean, this is whatever it is, maybe 20 inches, but the dirt over here is about 18 inches. And that's now just up against frickin' wood. Even though there's a brick veneer or concrete veneer on the outside of this, it's still permeable. Concrete is permeable. Moisture moves through concrete, right? That's why we have to damp proof our foundation walls. So this is an absolute no-no. And if you have planters on the outside of your home, you had better make sure you have concrete on the inside. Otherwise, you're going to be reframing your exterior walls once every 20 years or sooner. Okay, I have been a vocal advocate against using poly on the inside of our homes ever since it became a thing, right? Some genius somewhere decided, hey, we should put poly on the inside of our homes to make them more airtight. Well, I'll tell you why that is a stupid thing to do. Right up there, we've got water that has somehow found its way behind the building envelope. Because we have this poly bag on the inside of the house, there is no yellowing of the drywall above us or anything like that. So we had no idea that this water, the clients, nobody had any idea that this moisture was sitting up there. And I don't know if that joist beside it there is rotten yet or not, but if it's not, it's on its way. Poly on the inside of your home is an absolutely terrible detail. Horrible idea. I don't know how it got approved as being an allowable solution in the building code. It is an absolute nightmare. If you are concerned about airtightness, get it through the outside of the structure, right? My personal preference, get your airtightness through the plywood. Tape the seams of your plywood, tape your plywood to your foundation wall, boom, airtight, okay? Poly on the inside of your home, terrible idea. And building inspectors, builders, clients, do not let your builder put poly on the inside of your home. It will fail. It will cause you problems. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and that I can guarantee. Thank you so much for watching. Listen, we would love to be your partners in success. If you have a home that you're dreaming about renovating, hit us up. Phone us, find us on the web, let's connect. In the meantime, please, we would be so grateful if you'd subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with friends and family if you think that what we're talking about or if it's useful for your friends and family, whatever the case may be, we're looking for more friends. In the meantime, as I always say, stay awesome and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye now.